The United States Embassy in Nigeria is warning of a high risk of planned terror attack in Abuja. In a security alert issued on Sunday, the embassy says that terrorists are targeting government buildings, places of worship, markets, and others. The statement noted that the U.S. Embassy will offer reduced services until further notice. The embassy warned its citizens against all non-essential travels and to be alert. Meanwhile, security analysts have warned of an increased violence following the commencement of campaign activities in a build-up to 2023 general elections. However, the Nigeria Security Report for September shows a reduction in the number of incidents, fatalities, and abductions in the third quarter of the year. Arise security correspondent Ferdinand Duroha reports.
An analysis of the fatalities for the period July to September 2022 by Beacon Consult shows a total of 2,296 fatalities across the country. This is a 9.1% reduction from the 3,112 witnessed in the second quarter and a 14.4% reduction from 3,586 observed in the first quarter. However, in all, the number of killings recorded in the country this year is put at 8,994. Also, in the third quarter of the year, Nigeria recorded a total of 1,284 abductions across the country. It is a 5.8% reduction from 1,549 witnessed in the second quarter and an 11.4% reduction from the 1,808 observed in the first quarter. This brings the number of kidnappings in the country this year to 4,614, while 84.0% of the fatalities took place in northern Nigeria. 16% was in the south. 81.5% of the kidnappings took place in the north and 18.5% in the south. For the last quarter of the year, the security outfit predicts that the dislodgement of gunmen from bases and camps due to the ongoing interdiction and clearance operations by the security forces in the northeast, north central, and northwest Nigeria will lead to further attacks against defenseless communities in the regions. It is predicted that political violence localized to political events and gatherings will increase following the commencement of campaign activities. Criminal activities including kidnap for ransom, violence and petty crimes, as well as home invasions are likely to continue due to the deteriorating economic circumstances and rising inflation. Ferdinand Duroha, Arise News.
All right, Dr. Vati.
Okay, I don't know where to start from. The first thing to start from is to say that nobody, no citizen, can be kidnapped, abducted, which is the other phrase that they use, and that the Nigerian Constitution is very clear in Chapter 4 thereof, Section 31, starting with the dignity of the human person. So it doesn't matter if the DSS comes up and says, oh, there's been a reduction in kidnapping. Kidnap who? A Nigerian citizen who has rights under the law, who has rights to be free and to feel safe. And under the doctrine of the responsibility to protect, which is a major principle in international law, even foreigners should not be kidnapped, they should not be harassed, they should not be victimized, they should not be treated badly. And there is established case law in that particular regard. So the responsibility of government, as spelled out in Section 14 of the 1999 Constitution, is to ensure that everybody is safe. So we shouldn't even sit down and be debating, oh, there has been a reduction in abduction. What kind of talk is that? It is wrong. Number two, yes, we're in a political season. It's also not right to say that, oh, political season, there may be a rise in abductions, in discriminations against persons, in violations of human dignity. No. The job of government is to ensure that whether it is election season or off-cycle election season or normal season, that nobody feels bad being a Nigerian citizen or being in Nigerian territory whether they're citizens or visitors living in Nigeria. That's the principle. And I think that should not be too difficult for people who are intelligent to understand. Number two is the United States issuing a security alert. Well, this is not the first time that the United States will issue a security alert with regard to terror attack, either in Abuja or other parts of Nigeria. These embassies are in Nigeria. They collect their own intelligence. They share their own intelligence. And occasionally, they offer either a security alert or a terror alert. In this particular instance, the U.S. Embassy in Nigeria is saying, look, government facilities are at risk, government buildings are at risk, international organizations are at risk, restaurants, hotels, law enforcement facilities, places of worship, schools, markets. I mean, they provided a list of places that could be at risk. And they have offered advice to their own citizens to stay alert, to avoid crowded places, to just generally be vigilant, and to be aware that there is a security threat in Abuja. So the defense headquarters of Nigeria has said, well, we are also aware of this, and we are on top of the situation. Well, I got accused of popularizing the phrase, we are on top of the situation. I don't know whether my critics are right or not. But when you hear, the government saying, we are on top of the situation, are they really on top of the situation? And what really is the top of the situation? I go back to the point. Responsibility to protect under international law, and also responsibility to protect the dignity of the human person under the Nigerian Constitution. Everyone in this country must be safe. This election time, the government of Nigeria can come to you and say, oh, we are protecting everybody, but are we all safe? That's the question. Do the security agencies deserve our trust? That's another question. Third, is the government really protecting us? Can we, as they say proverbially, sleep with two eyes closed? Are there persons in this country who are sleeping now with only one eye closed? These are the questions, in my view.
I mean, very well raised, Dr. Abati. One thing is certain. The Americans releasing their intelligence, they do this every now and then when they see something, and it's obvious that this is real alert, because even their consular services will be reduced and the services of their embassy. So that's to speak volumes. Question is, what are we doing? What is our state intelligence doing as regards this? Yes, the DSS will argue that they churn out a lot of reports by the day that take, for instance, before the attacks on the Abuja prison, they churned out a lot of reports and everything. But it is the activation of the reports that matters a great deal. People that can take the report and then implement. So hope with this, the DSS has, had a paper trail of reports out, and hope the requisite authorities are taking cognizance, the police force. What is the police reaction like? What is their internal mechanism like? What is the army's reaction like? What is the internal mechanism like? I remember that when the attacks happened against the Brigade of Guards in Abuja, security was high alert too in Abuja for that period of time, but things are still simmered down now. So what is the reaction like across all the agencies? And that's why we keep talking about interagency cooperation. Yes, DSS is aware of this. Information has been disseminated. Other security agencies, what are they doing as regards it? As we speak today, with things like this, I don't see any reason why we can't have a close-knit security agency where, our security forces and the presidency, number one citizen, should be able to get on a call now as we speak, sort of like a COBRA meeting like it's done in other parts of the world, to review architecture, to review layers in place and ensure things are done properly. The report as regards election violence, it's rife and it's true, and we cannot deceive ourselves about that. Only yesterday, the PDP candidate in Lagos, governorship candidate Jandor, was attacked by some thugs and touts and all of that. We highly condemn political attacks this season. All right, the car where some journalists were when he was on the trip to Badagry was shattered and things like that. Also, let's not forget, I think up north, some candidates of a rival political party were attacked. I think it was the PDP candidate, APC candidates who have said some of their supporters have been attacked and the likes. So this report is rife by saying that during the election period, violence will only increase. But the question is, what are we doing as regards mitigating the effect? Because yeah, you're going to have high fatalities. There are going to be gatherings. There are going to be a lot of gatherings, political gatherings and the likes, like was done by the PDP in Benin over the weekend. You're going to be having political abductions and killings. I mean, I think somewhere in Osun or thereabout, and one of the states, I can't remember correctly now, somebody of an opposition political party was killed. You're going to be having these high-stake political killings. You're also going to be having politically motivated abductions. So even if the statistics is trending downwards in terms of the security report, we should also know that coupled with the Ember months, which brings up a lot of expectation, and political spendings and all of that, and political season, political campaigning, you're going to have an upsurge. So these reports are there to be able to point us that things will definitely happen. But the question is, what should be the reaction? What are the layers of security to nip these things in the bud? What are the layers of security to need armed robbery in the bud? Is it going to be more police checkpoint? Is it going to be more surveillance? Is it going to be more investment? Is it going to be more helicopter patrols and things like that? Is it going to be more intelligence gathering? And please, our protection of our society behoves on all of us. So if you see anything untoward, say something. I tell people, in terms of the security architecture, all of us have a role to play. Citizens, neighbors, landlords, and things like that, we all have a role to play. Do we profile people that come to live with us? Do you look at their movements? If you see anything untoward, report to the appropriate authority to ensure that we nip this in the bud. I don't buy this argument that, I don't know that my neighbor was XYZ, it wasn't my business. But you see movements, you see people coming in and out, you see things happening. Why don't you try as much as possible to report this to the appropriate authority? And another thing is the symbiosis between the people, the populace, and the security forces. How easy is it now for a citizen to be able to report intelligence to the authorities, sensitive intelligence, that it will not be traced to them and they will not be attacked? Because the fear on the minds of people is that they do see things, but they are not sure. What if I report to the police or report to the army or report to security architecture and XYZ happens? I'm happy. I've been seeing some adverts as regards the DSS across media putting out their phone numbers there, that people can reach them if they see anything. But how effective is that? How are we going to ensure that there's confidentiality of those calls? How are we going to ensure that those people are protected? So it takes all of us to secure our environment. It takes a village, like they say, to raise a child. And the child here is our national security, which means a lot to us. Also, Ministry of Interior too should come in strong as regards all of this threat alert. And let's see how we can save and secure Nigeria. Nigerian President Muhammadu Buhari on Saturday unveiled Pinnacle Oil and Gas Petroleum Product Terminal at Lekki Free Trade Zone in Lagos, with the confidence that the new terminal will ease the pains caused by traffic congestion at the Lagos port. Our Rise News correspondent Oba Adeoboye covered the opening ceremony.
The lifting and distribution of petroleum products to many parts of Nigeria from Lagos has remained a major subject of concern to the government and other stakeholders in the industry. According to a recent report released by the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, a total of Naira 66.58 million liters of petrol were distributed across states in the country within a 2-week period covering May 16 and May 29, 2022. The bulk of this comes from Lagos, but not without the resultant effect of traffic lockdown in the Akpakpa axis, which always constitute a drawback to other business activities in the area. But now, here comes a relief as an indigenous oil and gas company playing active roles across the entire downstream value chain. Pinnacle Oil and Gas opened its $1 billion petroleum products terminal in the Lekki Free Zone. The grand unveiling ceremony, which attracted bigwigs in the oil and gas industry, presents renewed assurances that the challenges of petroleum product distribution may soon be a thing of the past in the country.
I am aware that the operators of this facility have eased congestions in the Apapa area, reduced cost of petroleum product distribution, ease delivery of products to many parts of our country, we will continue to encourage and support investors to take advantage of the ongoing reforms in the oil and gas sector as enshrined in the Petroleum Industry Act and replicate the feats achieved by Pinnacle Oil and Gas Limited.
Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who was also at the ceremony as the host governor, commended Pinnacle Oil and Gas for such a huge investment in the nation's energy sector. Sanwo-Olu believes that the new terminal will not only solve petroleum distribution challenges, but also create jobs for many youths who may want to take part in that sector of the economy.
This facility will not only serve Nigeria, it's also being positioned to look at the opportunity of export on the West African corridor, creating that single market in which Lagos will continue to remain the commercial and the logistics hub of the entire West African region.
Dr. Peter Mba, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Pinnacle Oil and Gas, disclosed that the new terminal can handle up to 300 million liters of PMS, as well as diesel, otherwise known as automotive gas oil, AGO. Dr. Mba also added that the Pinnacle terminal is currently in talks with the Dangote refinery. He is confident that such a partnership will facilitate significant savings in cost of the products to the end users.
The terminal is supported by the world-class services of the Lekki Free Zone Development Company in area of services like power, supply, and truck traffic management. Also, our location enables easy access and ingress, allowing trucks from our terminal to service the rest of the country without any need to traverse the Lagos metropolis.
I wish to seize this opportunity to let the Dangote Group know that the response to our interaction thus far has been most heartwarming. We thank you for the openness and understanding and look forward to even more far-reaching collaboration with you.
And Nigeria tend to benefit greatly from the economic benefit of these investments.
Our populations are growing. The middle class is growing. Energy requirements are growing substantially. Despite all the conversations around energy transition that you hear, clearly what is happening today is a massive growth in our economy.
Pinnacle Oil and Gas is an indigenous energy company active across the entire downstream value chain with emphasis on the petroleum trading, marketing, distribution and retail segment of the Nigerian oil and gas sector. Oba Adeoye, Arise News, Lagos.
Right, that's the story there on the new facility by Pinnacle Oil. That's all the news headlines.